Hi, I'm Dong Sean. Welcome to Digging into China, where we explore China in depth to reveal unique perspectives. Trump's tariff hammer has come down hard on the entire world, and the tax rate formula he's cooked up isn't about fair play or matching rates. It's all about the trade deficits. The tariffs he's slapping on countries are so over the top, way beyond what anyone in the market expected, that it sent US stocks into a free fall. Here's the thing. Trump's economic advisors didn't push him toward this wild approach. They suggested something more like a slow simmer, maybe a 2% hike here and there to avoid rattling the financial markets too much. But Trump clearly didn't bite on that idea. Sure, from an economic standpoint, you'd want to keep things steady, not shake them up like this. But I'd wager Trump's got his eye on the political game. He's in a rush to balance the US budget and scrap together more cash so he can roll out his tax cuts, hand out the DOGE refund checks to folks, and keep his grip on the 2026 midterms. This is a massive roll of the dice, though. We won't know who wins or loses until 2026 rolls around. For now, the trade shock Trump's unleashed is already hitting economies worldwide, even messing with sovereign credit ratings, including America's own, believe it or not. Take export-heavy countries, for example. With these tariffs slamming them, two things are bound to happen. One, their economies tank and the GDP takes a dive. Two, their credit ratings could get slashed. Just look at April 3rd. Fitch dropped China's rating from A+ to A, pointing to worries about public debt spiking fast, weak demand at home, rising tariffs, deflation, and the need to jack up deficits, all chipping away at the country's credit. But here's a kicker. Back in August 2023, Fitch also knocked down the US rating because of its own crazy high debt pile. So while it looked like a trade war between the US and China, it's really a race to see who can tackle their debt mess first. And since Trump dropped his tariff bomb, the Chinese yuan's been on a little roller coaster, slipping to 7.35 before bouncing back sharp to under 7.3. That's Beijing stepping in, no doubt. So why not let the yuan slide? Word from Wall Street Journal reporters digging around in Beijing says China's top brass see Trump's tariff swing as a rare shot to push the yuan onto the world stage, hoping it'll elbow out the dollar. They are keeping it strong to take over as the big global currency. It's not just the higher-ups thinking this way. Regular folks are on board too. Some even dream of a bunch of countries teaming up under China's lead to build a new trade club, leaving the US out in the cold. So, in this episode, let's chew over whether China can grab this chance to step up as the new boss of world trade. Trump's tariff storm is basically tearing apart the old global trade setup to build something new. His idea is simple. You can trade with America, make some cash off us, but you've got to play by our rules, like setting up shops on US soil. It's got a real bossy vibe to it, no question. Anytime someone smashes up the way things are, they are going to catch heat from all sides. Countries are reacting in four big ways right now. First, you've got the hard pushback like China's doing. Second, some are gearing up to hit back like the EU and Canada. Third, others are trying to talk their way into a pass like Japan. And fourth, a few aren't fighting at all. Vietnam's even cutting tariffs on the US to cozy up. So it looked like China might pull the EU and Canada into an anti-US crew, dumping US bonds together, ditching the dollar, and maybe switching to the yuan. Now, let's not get ahead of ourselves wondering if China can run the show in this new crew. Let's stick to the money facts. To pull off what the US did with the dollar, China would have to flip from being a trade surplus champ to running deficits. But with the EU and Canada, it's still racking up surplus. Sure, skipping the dollar's doable. Russia and China are already at it. But that's just the bothering, and the bothering's got a ceiling. Trade hits a wall fast. Picture this. John catches 10 fish a day, and David snags 4 pheasants. They trade 5 fish for 2 pheasants, both happy. John stepped it up to 20 fish, but David is stuck at 4 pheasants. They are still swapping 5 fish for 2 unless John runs up it 2, say 15 fish for 3. And David likes the deal. Otherwise, they are capped at David's 4 pheasants. That's world trade without the US as the big spender. Without America's buying up everything, a new trade group's going to struggle to grow. For China, standing still isn't an option. Exports have to keep climbing every year. Why? If they shrink, GDP drops. And if GDP drops, the debt bomb goes off. The yuan's been printed like crazy for years, loading the economy with debt like a giant mortgage on the whole country. If income dips, the debt's still there, staring you down. So if China wants to lead world trade, it's got a puzzle to solve. It needs to push the yuan out there, become the top buyer, but also keep pumping out exports to hold its surplus. Can that work? Maybe on paper. First, they'd have to throw open the capital gates, let the yuan flow free to the world, so the world's happy to invest in China. Houses, stocks, bonds, you name it. Second, they'd need to print more yuan to bankroll stuff overseas like Belt and Road projects or loans to other countries. But those countries have to want the yuan. If they take it just to swap for dollar and that swap stops, they'll ditch it. Then there is a third piece. The yuan got to move between other countries like Iran selling oil to North Korea and North Korea saying yuan only. But if it can turn into dollars, even buddies might say no thanks. The yuan only buys so much, mostly Chinese stuff. What if they want American computers, phones, games, chips? Everybody's chasing dollars because America's got the goods people want. Trade partners sweat for dollars, and yeah, they buy bonds, but they also want American stuff. Google searches, YouTube ads, Nvidia chips, Apple phones, Lockheed and Raytheon weapons, Pfizer drugs, Hollywood flicks, Tesla's, Starlink. Dollars aren't just random paper. The trade deficit's not for kicks. People grab dollars because America's got something to trade back, goods or service. Otherwise, what's the point? What's China got? Stuff others can make too. If China had F-35s or Patriot missiles to sell, they wouldn't need to hustle the yuan. People would line up for it. So China can take America's spot. Open the capital accounts, the yuan would tank, money would run. Invest overseas with yuan only so far, depends on dollar swaps. Get it flowing between other countries, tough sell. Its buying power's too narrow, can't touch America's high-end gear. Trump's trade shakeups a huge bet, and I'm not sold it'll pay off. It's like hitting 1,000 bad guys and still take 800 punches yourself. America can slug it out with China one-on-one, but a trade war with everybody, it's about who lasts longer. Whoever's standing wins. Trump's banking on surplus countries crying uncle first from the tariff pain. They'll lose more, he figures, and come begging. But it might not go that way. The Chinese can tough it out like nobody else. Tariffs could crush their factories, tank the economy, drop the currency, even leave people hungry. They still might not blink. Americans, though, prices go up, stocks get stuck, beef goes from every day to every 3 days, they might kick Trump out. Endurance isn't the same everywhere. Unless Trump scores a quick win, dragging this out screws him for the midterms. China's not budging. The real question's whether other countries cut deals with the US and buy into the new trade rules. If they stall, play it slow, fight for a year, Trump's tariff hammers might just clang and miss. His big support is the Rust Belt workers. Life's already rough for them. Stocks falling or price jumping doesn't change much. They are all in for Trump bringing factories back. Unions are swinging his way now. America's old globalization and the free trade gigs like China's real estate mess. It's about who's winning and who's left out. In China, the folks who got rich flipping houses want prices sky high forever. But tons of people can't keep up with those prices. They'll never own a place. Do they want prices up or down? They don't care how much real estate's tangled up the economy. They are the ones looked out. A crash helps them, and you can't really blame them. China's land cash grabs short-sighted, burning the future for a dead mountain. Same deal in America. China's regular folks hate the real estate game like the Rust Belt workers hate globalization. They are the ones it kicked aside. They want to ditch it. Go back to the 80s when a factory job meant a big house and a good life. America's globalization and China's land grab both piled up huge debts. America's credit rating took a hit too, just like China's. That's the big fight now. Some swear by the idea that a trade deficit is fine because it balances out with the cash flowing back into the US markets, but that only works if it's a perfect system. No bubbles, no crazy inflation. America pushes dollars out and inflation with it. That's the dollar's secret sauce. It keeps it printing without blowing up. But these dollars are debt. Other countries' US bonds are IOUs from Uncle Sam. More dollar stuff out there, bigger the debt gets. Print too much like now with the government drowning in it, and the world will ditch dollars fast. They flood back home and boom, inflation goes wild. Dollars aren't freebies, and a giant trade deficit not a shrug off. Bottom line, dollar power needs America's debt to stretch forever. Credit always good. Crack that and the dollars rush back, lighting an inflation fire. America's got to cut the debt now, or even without Trump's tariffs. All those extra dollars will come home anyway as trust fades, sparking the same mess. You can say Trump's way is wrong. Too wild, too risky, maybe smashing his own foot with the rock he's lifting. Fair enough, but he's at least trying to balance the books, keeping America from drowning deeper in debt. If the Democrats keep running things, it's tax hikes all around, piling the debt higher. Either way, folks feel it. Tariffs now or taxes later. Tariffs might bring tax cuts and the checks eventually. Taxes and more debt, that's just a dead-end road. Thank you so much for watching. If you find this video helpful, please like it, drop a comment below, and hit the subscribe button right here. It really helps YouTube suggest my videos to others. I'll be back with more content soon. Until then, be well.